It doesn't matter what the governor says. New York was already a loser state, like California is a loser state. There are many loser states because of policy, high taxes, uncompetitive regulation. It was already on the top of the list of being a loser state. I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that.
Right. Well, look who's here now. Jordan Belfort is with us. He's the man known as the Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan, what do you think about that decision? Would you invest in New York City?
Well, it's a little bit more nuanced, my position. So as a New Yorker born and bred, it's sad because I think he's right that there are things that are happening and have been happening in New York to make it a so-called loser state financially, high taxes, the exodus because of that and so forth.
You've just seen a glimpse of a fresh segment from Fox Business. We'll be showing you the full clip at the conclusion of this video, so be sure to stay with us until the very end. But before that, we'd like to share our perspective with you. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe for more content of this nature, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. We'll be engaging with your comments, so we're looking forward to hearing from you. The recent statements by Jordan Belfort, the infamous Wolf of Wall Street, regarding New York's status as a loser state have certainly stirred the pot for those of us who have long championed the policies and leadership of Donald Trump. Belfort points out the decline in desirability for investment in New York, citing high taxes and overbearing regulations as significant factors disenchanting investors, elements that are symptomatic of the broader issues inflicted by Democrat leadership in certain states, much like we've witnessed in California. However, it's not just the financial unsustainability of New York as a state that's a concern. Belfort suggests that there is an additional layer of bias, this time within the judicial system, that targets those who are politically right-leaning. His advice for conservatives is to think twice before investing in New York, especially if they are vocal about their political leanings. This perceived weaponization of justice against conservatives is a grave assertion, and if true, it erodes the very bedrock of impartiality that the American judicial system is meant to uphold. For Trump supporters, this only reinforces the message that our former president has propagated, that the system is often rigged against conservative voices and entrepreneurs who side with the Republican agenda. The assertions made by Belfort highlight the struggles facing political minorities in blue states and cities where punitive measures seem to lurk, veiled as justice or regulation. Even as these concerns around bias are aired, Belfort holds on to a sliver of hope that upon reaching the appeals courts, some of the more outlandish legal decisions will be overturned. He points out that despite Trump's turbulent relationship with New York authorities, no one has lost money. On the contrary, banks have profited. His depiction of the judicial actions against Trump and his associates as ridiculous underscores the sentiment ingrained in many of us, that these legal battles are less about justice and more about political score settling. Amid this climate of divisiveness and political retaliation, Donald Trump's resilience continues to shine. Despite New York's best efforts to sully his name and hinder his business endeavors, Trump remains as tenacious as ever. His success is not just a testament to his business acumen, but also his unyielding spirit. To his supporters, Trump symbolizes the idea that no matter how much the establishment may try to stifle a conservative agenda, through policy or legal intimidation, there's a path to victory. Belfort's commentary, while dark in its portrayal of New York's political and financial climate, serves as a beacon of hope to Trump advocates. It's a reminder that with the right strategies and steadfastness in combating unfavorable policies and potential political persecution, triumph is within reach. Trump's potential win in New York would exemplify this, shattering the narrative and proving that sound policy, strong leadership, and unwavering conviction can indeed turn the tide even in the most challenging environments. Trump's success in such a climate would send a resounding message across America. Conservative principles can and will prevail.
It doesn't matter what the governor says. New York was already a loser state, like California is a loser state. There are many loser states because of policy, high taxes, uncompetitive regulation. It was already on the top of the list of being a loser state. I would never invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that.
Right. Well, look who's here now. Jordan Belfort is with us. He's the man known as the Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan, what do you think about that decision? Would you invest in New York City?
Well, it's a little bit more nuanced, my position. So as a New Yorker born and bred, it's sad because I think he's right that there are things that are happening and have been happening in New York to make it a so-called loser state financially, high taxes, the exodus because of that and so forth. But I think that here's the deal. If you're on the right and, you want to be vocal about it, you really should be very careful before you invest in New York State.
Oh, on the right, politically?
Right, politically, right? On the right side, because, they're obviously coming after you. Now, I think that keeps ratcheting up. If you want to be on the right and vocal about it, then you really should not invest. And if you want to run for office on the right, then get out and never look back.
Forget about it.
I think, but if you're on the left, I think, hey, there might be other pressures driving prices down because people on the right are going to be very hesitant. But you got to be really, if you're on the right side of the aisle politically, this is weaponizing, justice. It's obvious and everyone knows it. So it's patently ridiculous.
So you're saying flat out, the courts in New York City are heavily politicized against people who are conservative.
Well, I'm hoping that when it gets to the appeals court, this gets overturned because it's just so ridiculous in every way. But yes, at this level, obviously politicized. And
nobody lost any money.
No one lost money. The banks made money.
Everybody made money.
It's just honestly, and even the amount is just bears no relation to anything that sembles reality. So it's patently ridiculous.
He's got to come up with $450 million in 30 days, and no bank that does business in New York can lend him the money.
Right.
Every bank does business in New York.
Yeah, he'll find the money. I have no doubt he's not going to sit and let them take his property. So he'll find the money somehow, and he's going to win at some level here or at the Supreme Court because the whole thing is utterly ridiculous. And he keeps going up in the polls because everyone knows how ridiculous it is. So these attacks, whether it's from here, whether it's in Georgia, anywhere else, they make him stronger. He's a tough guy for sure.
He is. I'm going to change the subject, Jordan. You made a video recently saying children, youngsters, should be taught financial literacy in middle school. Why start at that age?
I would start even earlier, but middle school would be the earliest. I think that it's so important that kids are financially illiterate because it's the things that you learn when you're young that really stay with you, deep inside. So when you learn it as an adult or in college, you're playing catch-up ball. But if you're taught at an early age to really understand the financial system and your own money, how to manage it, and really how things work, I think it's going to stand any kid in good stead for the rest of their lives, and it'll be part of who they are, their personality, versus just being confused by it. So many people I know are just overwhelmed and confused by anything about finance, banking, money management. But if you learned it at a very young age, along with your arithmetic tables, I think you'd be a lot better off.
It should be weighed on a basic level. How do you save money? How do you make a budget?
Exactly.
How do you organize spending?
What is a credit score?
And also the importance of good credit. Exactly. I think these things are mission critical because you see so many people as adults that are just lost. They're overwhelmed by it. And it's really not that complicated. But when you learn it young, and it's like, it's building blocks. So you learn the basics when you're young, and as you get older, you keep adding on to that. And by the time you're an adult, it's second nature.
I was about to say maybe tell the kids how to organize their checkbook. But people don't have checkbooks these days, do they? They don't have them.
And that's good and it's bad. Because I used to be able to memorize, how many, 100 phone numbers? You probably knew, growing up, you knew a lot of phone numbers. I don't know anyone's phone number. So by having